Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. It's Melissa Thomas with Florida National News coming to you with the evening news rundown for your Thursday, June 11, 2020. Thanks as always for tuning in with us. As always, we'd like to bring you the latest COVID-19 reports of latest cases and deaths globally here in the US and in the state of Florida. So globally, according to the World Health Organization, they're reporting over 7.2 million confirmed cases and over 413,000 confirmed deaths. In the United States, according to Johns Hopkins University, we're seeing over 2 million now confirmed cases and over 113 confirmed deaths. According to the Florida Department of Health's dashboard here in the state of Florida, we're seeing over 69,000 confirmed cases and over 2,840 confirmed deaths. Now, jumping into our world story, Brazil is now reopening, despite the surge in cases that they're experiencing. In the business sectors, the malls are starting to reopen in two of the hardest hit areas, Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. Now, Sao Paulo is the hardest hit area right now, and half of their malls have already opened. As of right now, they're seeing a record number of recorded deaths from the last 24 hours. They are reporting 340 confirmed deaths in the last 24 hours. And, this is the second day in a row where they're seeing numbers that high. Now, according to reports, they have a total of over 9,800 confirmed deaths in Sao Paulo alone. So guys, be careful. In total, in the nation of Brazil, they're seeing over 72,000 confirmed cases and over 39,600 confirmed deaths in the country. In Rio, the malls are already starting to reopen as well. The second hardest hit area again, but they're continuing to reopen despite the surge in numbers. You heard us talk about it yesterday. So as we mentioned before, watch this space. We'll continue to keep you updated because there will be continued consequences with that sort of split decision to reopen despite the rise in cases. Coming over here to the United States, we're seeing something similar in terms of a second surge of cases, particularly in the state of Arizona. Arizona is one of 19 states that is now seeing a surge in new cases while the nation is continuing to reopen. The director of health services there is actually cautioning Arizona hospitals to quote, be judicious in the use of the elective surgeries because they want to make sure that hospital beds are open for any COVID-19 emergencies that end up coming into the hospitals. History is starting to repeat itself. We saw that, in March when COVID-19 really, really hit the United States in earnest. So again, we'll continue to keep you guys updated. In a non-COVID-19 US story, you've likely heard by now, President Trump's first post-quarantine rally will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, taking place on June 19th, otherwise known as Juneteenth, for those who are familiar with Black history. According to reports, he mentioned that he found a venue there that he calls, quote, beautiful, a beautiful venue that's brand new. Governor Kevin Stitt there, as well as the Tulsa mayor, G.T. Bynum, they're crediting, President Trump's selection of that destination to their handling of the reopening of the state, and in Tulsa's specific case, the reopening of the city. Now, for this brings us to our audience question to very quickly, for those who are aware of the significance of Juneteenth and the significance of the location, which is Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is, of course, home to what was formerly known as the Black Wall Street, and of course, the home to the Tulsa race riots. So given the history there, kind of give us your thoughts on that decision to choose that area for Trump to make his comeback in terms of the campaign, his first campaign rally. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. On any side of the argument, we love to hear from all of you guys. Thank you for continuing to watch Evening News Rundown. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick commercial break and come right back with your Florida story.
All this time we fought side by side. We trained together. We lost together. And now, you're the only one standing in my way. It's been a while, old friend.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and sticking with us at the Evening News Rundown. Now, jumping to your Florida story, the quotes, I put this in quotes, world's largest drive-in theater is set to come here to Central Florida. The Lighthouse 5 will be a 5-screen open-air multiplex built around a lighthouse as the stunning centerpiece. And I put the world's largest in quotes because filmmaker Spencer Fulmar, who is spearheading this project, he says he wants this particular open air drive-in theater to be the world's largest, listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. So it's not technically the largest yet, but during the course of its development, that is his goal, that is his vision for it to become that way. And this multiplex is actually going to be built in stages. So it will begin with the 5 screens. And then the next step will be the shopping center and the restaurants, followed by camping, if you can believe that. So that should make for a very interesting destination. The Lighthouse 5 will be built along County Road 44 in Eustis. So definitely a centralized location. And as far as drive-in theaters, you've likely heard about those during the quarantine or as the state began to gradually reopen. We shared a story with you guys where the Hard Rock Stadium had converted its south portion of its lot to a drive-in theater for 230 cars roughly. But other theaters have done the same thing. In Deltona and Claremont, Epic Theaters converted to an open-air drive-in, and we're showing throwback films. And the Ocala Drive-In Theater is actually the first of its kind here in Florida because they were showing first-run movies, which is rare. The drive-ins usually do the throwbacks. They do second run. So, great news. And, for those of us who are film lovers, we look forward to the Lighthouse 5 coming to Central Florida. Congrats to Florida for getting a project like that. Now, jumping over to our business story, California's Disneyland, the other Disney, has announced its phased reopening plan. So beginning on July 9th, the downtown Disney shopping area, that will reopen first. The theme park itself, Disneyland and the California Adventure Parks, both of those will reopen July 17th. And on July 23rd, the hotels in the area will reopen as well. Of course, as any businesses that have reopened, they'll be implementing, temperature checks, that sort of thing, masks required, gloves, all of that, social distancing, all of that. So congrats to Disneyland for those in the California area that have been waiting to go to that theme park, just like the folks here in Florida had been itching to return to Disney for those who wanted to travel, particularly for the summer, which that was a huge factor in the decision there. Now, jumping to the sports story, you heard Casey talk about this yesterday, but U.S. Soccer has officially voted to repeal their requirement to stand for the national anthem. They had that policy. They have now voted to repeal that. The U.S. Soccer Federation's board of directors voted to repeal it. And, at the urging of the president of the federation, the board met via conference on Tuesday to discuss the policy. And rather than waiting until its next meeting on Friday, aka tomorrow, the board decided to go ahead and vote right then and there. So, it's official. So here's what the statement read. Quote, the U.S. Soccer Board of Directors voted yesterday afternoon to repeal policy 604-1, which required our players to stand during the national anthem. The policy was put in place after Megan Rapinoe kneeled in solidarity with the peaceful protests inspired by Colin Kaepernick, who was protesting police brutality and the systemic oppression of Black people and people of color in America. The repeal will take effect immediately, meaning that it will be in force until the next annual general meeting early next year. So obviously this is some big news in the sports world, particularly given the national debate concerning Kaepernick's decision to kneel when he first decided to do that, to bring attention to the race issue in terms of police brutality for folks of color in the United States of America. Now, guys, we're going to take one more quick commercial break, and when we get back, we will bring our lovely Jamesia Stoudemire out of Los Angeles with the Entertainment 444. Stay tuned.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my hand is clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin
The
clean.
kid does have a
That's
point.
My hand is clean.
Enjoy the go with Charmin. And for an extra clean finish, try Charmin Flushable Wipes.
Welcome back, guys. And as promised, it is Thursday. So Jamesia Stoudemire is here from Los Angeles with the Entertainment 4 for 4. Good afternoon, Jamesia. How you doing?
Melissa, how are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Well, we are doing great out here in sunny Los Angeles, California. It's actually a pretty hot day today. So that's pretty nice for those that can go outside and enjoy the outside weather. But this is Jamesia, and today for your Entertainment 444, we are going to start off with number 1. The cancellation of popular cop show and live PD have been canceled. So a little backstory. So what has recently taken place? As of yesterday, live PD was canceled by A&E Network. This came recently after Paramount canceled Cops, which took place on Tuesday. Little details about both of these shows. They have been around for actually quite a lot, more than 5 years. Both shows have been running. But Cops was brought to us by Paramount Networks, and they canceled the show. And this is actually, it was its 33rd season and was set to air on Monday. It was actually premiered in 1989. So Cops has been around for a very long time. But of course, due to the recent passing of George Floyd and the protests taking place, they went ahead and they've heard everyone, and they've now let that show go. And now A&E with Live PD, which is a different kind of take on the cops of like reporting police. They did more of a new documentary approach, and it gave more police officers a voice. So they had said, they had getting protests about the show. And why is because on that particular show, they actually filmed an altercation of a gentleman being arrested. It was African-American gentleman being arrested, and he died actually after that arrest took place. The show never did air, and the footage actually, after everything was taken care of, the footage no longer exists either. So, but that's kind of why people are really protesting more so about that show, because they feel that the show maybe amped the cops up to, maybe take those actions or things like that, but also just, again, in the situations that are recently taking place in the United States and internationally, they're going to go ahead and, cancel that show completely. So goodbye, guys. All right. So number 2, the Grammy Awards are making some changes. Now, these are going to, we have beautiful Lizzo here holding her awards. But what the Grammy Awards is doing, they have new categories. So it's not necessarily a new category, but they've changed the name of several of their categories. And the one that is taking the biggest attention is new artists. So they didn't change the category. What they did is they've changed the rules on how it's submitted. So just to go in depth, the old rule was a song and albums were limited to 30 singles being released or 3 albums. So in the new rule, there's no longer a specified maximum for the number of releases. Now, why this is a good thing is because now it allows more artists, especially younger artists, who release a lot of singles beyond that maximum amount that they were limited to. So they weren't eligible to be a new artist because they were exceeded that maximum limit, even though they may have just came out that year. So, and some of the artists that have actually, been a part or, were excluded from being able to be a new artist was Whitney Houston and Lady Gaga. So they were never eligible to be a nominee for that category. And the other cool thing that I think is taking place is that the committee members or voting members of the Grammy Awards now will be signing a conflict of interest disclosure. So what does that mean? A conflict of interest disclosure pretty much is if you as a voting member are on a committee, let's say you're in, example, country, and you are in that category and you are reaping any financial, familiar, or creative gain, you are no longer allowed to be on that category or that committee, because it's a conflict of interest. And as recently happened this past January, the CEO was caught making statements that she was fired for making a statement kind of saying that things weren't done correctly. So if you want to check that story out from this past January. So they're stepping it up and changing the rules to make things more fair. And this will really give a great opportunity for a lot more people, I think, to be able to at least submit to be nominated, to be a nominee. So I think that's an awesome opportunity. And the last thing, they now are officially have all the rules on Grammy.com. So if you go to their website, you can see all the rules of how they do the public, how they do the voting. So the public is now, it's more public access. And so people can really see and make sure that things are going right. So I'm interested to see how things may switch up the game, because this officially has gone into effect now. So the next Grammy Awards will be January 31st in 2021. So look forward to that. All right, number 3. The Annenberg, so Longtime LA Photography Showcase closes down, which is the Annenberg space for photography. And they're closing after 10 years, 31 exhibits, and 1 million visitors. They're officially closing their doors for good. It's really kind of sad. I personally have been in this space, and it is a beautiful. They have very diverse exhibits that look great. And as you saw in that picture that was just recently up, that was from the Vanity Fair exhibit. That was the last exhibit they did before they closed their doors in March due to the pandemic. The Annenberg space for photography is founded by Wallace Annenberg, who is a philanthropist, and also has the Annenberg Foundation, who is pretty much the spearhead for the Annenberg space for photography. So as they closed their doors, the money that was put into that space, because it was a free space for anyone to go to, museum almost type of space. But all that money will now be reallocated to organizations and pandemic recovery and social injustices. So it's a cool, at the same time, it's like a bittersweet loss, but they're gonna, help the American people get jobs and put that money back into America. So that's a really cool thing that they're doing, but I am definitely sad to see the Annenberg space go. All right, guys, and number 4, share the mic now. So Julia Roberts and Gwyneth Paltrow and a cool Kourtney Kardashian took part in Share the Mic Now. Now, what is Share the Mic Now? Share the Mic Now is a social media movement that pretty much you donate your social media for a day to other Black women who are activists, fellow celebrities, and content creators. So there was if you get a chance to check out their Instagram, they had a massive amount of amazing women that were able to speak through these amazing women, such as Julia Roberts and Gwyneth Paltrow, because one of their sayings is, when the world listens, it listens to white women. So they donated their audience and for a whole day for these women to speak about what they're doing and the changes that they're implementing in the world, so that we can be more aware of what Black women are doing and the changes that they are making in the world, so that everyone has an equal voice. And really, that's their goal, is just to magnify the Black woman and the works that they're just doing, so that we are equally heard. So that is an amazing thing. It took place actually yesterday, so you can kind of check out and see what took place and recap some amazing things. Again, this is Jamesia Stunnemeyer. I want to say thank you for tuning into the Entertainment 444. Make sure you guys follow me at THE_ENT_MOGUL. Melissa, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jamesia. Always a pleasure to have you on. And ladies and gentlemen, that does it here for us at the Evening News Rundown. Thank you for tuning in and for leaving your comments for us. Of course, tomorrow is Friday, so that is the packed day. So early in the day at 1 p.m., you'll see Jenny Rosario de Casiano with the Entertainment Buzz. She'll be interviewing a recording artist this time for something different. That is our promotion for the 20 free ad spots But you'll see her tomorrow. Her first recording artist, well, second recording artist technically. Her very first episode was with Mezzo Riccio, who's also a recording artist. However, tomorrow she'll have another one on, so it'll be exciting. And then of course I'll be back at 5 p.m. with the evening news rundown, and at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Casey will be back with the FNN Sports Take. So be sure to tune in. There is never a dull moment here at Florida National News. Thank you guys so much as always for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to like us. You can find us on Facebook at Florida National News, at FNN News TV, and at FNN News Live. And be sure to subscribe on YouTube as well to, click that little bell icon so you get all the notifications for all of the shows that we run. Politics and Power, we had a great one today at 1 p.m. So those shows are Tuesdays and Thursdays, but you'll be able to see all of our shows on Facebook and YouTube. In the meantime, have a great rest of your Thursday evening. Take care.